Guidru, my fellow IOC members. Thank you to the different Olympians, Sarah, Thierry, all of you made a terrific job. I'd like to maybe congratulate all the speakers because I think a lot of energy, good vibes in the room. It was very well received. It was the first opportunity for us to present Paris 2024, our vision made of passion, purpose, engagement, and we will continue to work because we know it's just a step, but a very important step, and we can feel that this team made a very good job. We are ready to deliver, and we will continue, and we are ready also to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
First one, Carlos, here on the left.
Morning, Carlos Groman. A question for President Macron, if I may. Your presence here has been highlighted as key for this bid for Paris. There have been 3 failed bids before. What is your impression? How will you be leaving Lausanne today after your meeting yesterday with President Bach and today during the session? Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Bonjour à tous.
You're right to remember that we lost 3 times. So we don't want to lose a 4th one. It's easy. I'm here, first of all, to convey the message that there is a strong unity to back this candidature. I think the team made a very great job. What they prepared, what they did during the past years is very impressive. And I decided from the very beginning of my mandate to back this project and to give the maximum in order to promote this candidature. So I'm here precisely to show that the French authorities do back this project and there is a total unity with this project. The second point, which is very important to me, is as well to be here, obviously to promote Paris 2024 candidature, because I think that's a very solid project and we are ready. But that's to convey a message that French people are ready. You know, probably I wouldn't be here if they were not ready. They decided to hope. They decided to make a bid themselves a few weeks ago. So I'm here to convey this message and to say, okay, our people are ready to welcome these games and precisely to endorse all the commitments with these games. And the third message is as well to say all the Olympic values are very important in the current environment. Responsibility, sustainability, equality, openness, everything which made this Olympic spirit and which gathers us today. And today these values are at risk because of the increase of selfishness, because of the increase of tensions in our world, because of the doubts in the multilateral world. And I think it's very consistent with the French DNA, the French mission, and what we want to do today in this current world, to be here and to defend as well these global values and these values of Olympism. For these reasons, I'm here with this candidature, and I'm here precisely to back this project. Next question up front here, Mark Bisson.
Mark Bisson from Around the Rings. A question for Tony and maybe Emmanuel Macron as well. Do you feel you did enough today, talking about 24 rather than 28, to influence the IOC to give you the 24 games as opposed to giving you the 28 games?
Thank you for your question. Well, regarding this question of 24, 28, the mandate of this team is definitely to build the best project for 24. That was our objective. So we came here with this only objective to propose the best offer, the best choice for the IOC for 2024. Of course, we are really looking forward to seeing what will happen this afternoon, and we will remain partners for the IOC. We will continue to work with the IOC, with the city of Los Angeles. We support completely this ongoing process of finding a win-win-win situation. But yes, you're right. Our objective was to defend in the best manner Paris 2024, and I think we did good. We did well, and we are confident that we convinced them that Paris is the best choice for 2024.
I totally agree with what Tony said. I think we're ready. This candidature was prepared by the whole team for 2024. That's important. This date makes a lot of sense, especially for France. But we are ready as well to discuss with the committee, and we are very open to work with them on the win-win-win approach described by President Barr. That's it.
Okay, next question. Let's get a question from French media here, from BFM.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur le Président. Mathieu Coage, BFM TV. Je vais vous reposer la même question en français concernant les Jeux de 2028.
To ask the same question in French about 2028. Is France a step ahead of the United States for winning the bid for 2024? The Americans were a bit diffident when they came out of their bidding interview. And perhaps Donald Trump has not been supporting you as much as expected. So what are the things you will be discussing when you meet him? Regarding the meaning of my presence here, there's only a positive message. There is no attempt to present our bid as being in reaction against this or that. And I will, when I meet President Trump on the 14th of July, we will discuss all these questions on which we are working together, the fight against terrorism, the crisis in Syria, in Libya, and many other issues of mutual interest. And we'll also be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the United States involvement in World War I at our side. So our bid is not in reaction to anything else. Paris is ready. Our determination is to support Paris's bid for 2024. I don't comment on certain topics. We've done our best. The team that is present here today has done a remarkable job. They have shown great unity, great consistency. The work has been spearheaded by sportsmen and women, supported by the Paris region, the city of Paris, to build a project which is very meaningful from a sports point of view, and also in terms of our values, environment protection, social protection, and very meaningful in the heritage that it will leave behind in Paris and in France. We are ready. The time is right for France. Our fellow citizens expect this bid to be victorious, to show to the rest of the world what we're capable of doing. I think there are high expectations. Of course, it is the Olympic Committee which will decide. We're ready for 2024. There's no ambiguity about this. We want the 2024 Games, but we are willing to work with the Olympic Committee and its president, who have shown great professionalism, and they really reflect the values that they support. May I add another question about the 2024-2028 issue? President Macron has just answered the question by saying how determined we are, but I would like to pay tribute to the work done by the International Olympic Committee, and the president of the CIO was right to engage in a dialogue with the cities. Being a candidate city today is a very risky thing. There is a political risk to begin with. The mayors are taking political risks, and we have seen in the discussions on the many candidatures, many city candidates have withdrawn from the bid for the 2024-2028 Games. Notably, many European cities have had to withdraw. Paris is the only European city that remains in the competition. So Thomas Barr wanted to think about this situation and to engage in a process which will produce only winners. The preceding bids led to too many losers. So the commitment to produce only winners is an approach we support very strongly. And in the next stages of this final straight, notably with the mayor of Los Angeles, the fact that we have friendly relations, we work together within a network, a very large network, the C40 network, of which I am the president. It brings together 40 of the largest cities in the world on climate issues. This will be a key to finding the path to producing 3 winners. Paris, this bit, we are at the disposal and at the side of the Olympic Committee, which was right to raise the question of how to engage in a dialogue. There's a new approach, a new procedure for selecting the winning city.
Monsieur le Président, télévision suisse en communication.
The Swiss television, may I ask the following question? Different cities, Warsaw, Krakow, and Switzerland have withdrawn. Why, as a reformist president, have you been supporting the Paris bid? It's always easy to mobilize people against things, but I think it's a good thing to mobilize people for positive purposes. I think these Olympic Games are a good thing for Paris, for the Paris region and for the country as a whole. First of all, because these games will show what we can do. The games will show, first of all, the excellent level of sports in France. In terms also of sports infrastructure, France will position itself as a global sports power. Between today and 2024, if we are chosen for the 2024 Olympic Games, which I hope we will host, it will help to mobilize the whole of the country in favor of sport. Each sports federation, be it professional or amateurs, volunteers will organize themselves to prepare for this event. So it's a wonderful way of mobilizing the whole of French society. Sports is an important component of our vision of society, which I wish to defend for the country. Through sport, as somebody said wonderfully in the earlier presentation, through sport, you can integrate society, you can break down social barriers. When you support a project that frees people economically, culturally and socially, sport is an important component of this vision. And I want this idea to spread across the whole of the country, and I think the Olympic Games are important in that regard. Thirdly, these games will enhance the attractiveness of France from a tourist point of view, economic point of view. There are already 30 million tourists who visit Paris, 45 million tourists visit the Paris region, and 80 million tourists visit France as a whole. So we already have an excellent level, but we need to improve our infrastructures, our tourist infrastructures even more. And so it's a very important event for our economy. And finally, there's a moral aspect to this. It's good for a country's morale to mobilize itself in favor of a project of this nature. And I think that our fellow citizens want to be proud, want to feel proud of their country, of what they're capable of doing, proud of supporting such a project with the values that it embodies, all the values of the Olympic movement: generosity, open-mindedness, and environmental and social requirements and standards. The very fact that I was elected a few weeks ago is a manifestation of the French determination for a fresh start. And I think in this context, this candidature of France Paris is very important. I don't underestimate the resistance that exists, but I think we are prepared and the time is ripe. And the opinion polls show that French citizens, young and older citizens, are in favor of this bid. And in June, for the Olympic Day, 1 million citizens were out in the streets. They were not demonstrating against the games, they were demonstrating in favor of the games.
For 2 more questions only.
Monsieur le Président,
Mr. President, Madam the Mayor of Paris, a very simple question. The Swiss-Italian television have expressed certain concerns about insecurity in France, in Paris. What will be done to secure such a large-scale event?
L'honnêteté m'oblige à vous dire qu'il n'y a eu aucune question sur la sécurité pendant la présentation.
We didn't have to answer any questions about security in our presentation. In the discussions I had with President Barr yesterday, I presented our organization. A lot of work has been done by the whole team on eliminating any doubts about this. Terrorism is a global risk. Every part of the world is affected. France and Paris has been very adversely affected, but we have organized ourselves. We have made deep reforms to reform our security forces, our intelligence services, and more reforms will be implemented shortly. Great investments were made by my predecessor in security, and I have confirmed those. 10,000 extra policemen will be hired in the next few years, and we now have acquired special expertise in this area. So after the terrorist attacks that we suffered from, and which have affected almost all the towns and cities of the world, we have continued organizing events. Several major events have been held since the Paris attacks, the Paris Marathon, the Euro soccer tournament in 2016, the COP21 summit conference, which welcomed heads of government and state from all over the world. All those events were successful, and they were particularly successful in terms of security. And I repeated that yesterday. So in the soccer tournaments of the Euro 2016, there were millions of people who attended, and there were no incidents. We mobilized a great number of security forces, and we showed that we have the know-how and the expertise. May I add a personal comment? Paris, of course, has been through a great ordeal. In 2015, we went through a terrible ordeal, but this reflected my determination after these events to commit Paris to the Olympic Games. But first of all, we had to give hope. These games are a source of hope for our youth. These games are useful for French youth and for the youth of the suburbs of Paris. Many young people who were born in other parts of the world or whose roots are in other parts of the world and who need to feel that they are part of something which shows that they belong to a community, to a national community. So finally, the question of security didn't come simply because we showed that we know how to meet the standards, meet the required standards, as the President has just said, but considering security as a result of the terrorist attacks as something that would prevent us from celebrating values, humanist values in a country because of that country has suffered some terrorist attacks. This would be giving the terrorists a victory. And so holding the Olympic Games in Paris shows that the terrorists haven't won. It will give hope to people, it will unite people, it will have great benefits in societal terms, in social terms. And this is very important. But beyond all that, there is hope. A hope of coming together around a unifying project, and this was also one of the reasons why I put my trust in Tony and his team, and Guy Drut, the great Olympic champion, and Jean-François Lamour. We remembered why we had failed in the previous attempts, in the previous bid. So we knew what we had to do this time to win, and we, as soon as we had decided to bid again for all the reasons that had been mentioned today, we were all convinced. And this is the conviction we wish to share with French people. To those people who still doubt, who say it's expensive, it's of no use, it is very useful. It leads us to a future that will be better than the past. We must stop saying that the future will not be better than the past.
Your last question, Eric.
One last question.
Bonjour, Eric Bernaudot, l'agence France Presse.
I'm from the Agence France Presse.
Vous l'avez évoqué, Madame Hidalgo.
You mentioned it, Madame Hidalgo.
Votre gouvernement vient d'annoncer
Your
aujourd'hui
government has just announced cuts, and the French economy is not flourishing, and surely the taxpayers will have to pay up for these Olympic Games. On this topic,
vous pouvez
you can decide to say that everything is going badly, nothing is going. We know that there are challenges, but we are rising to these challenges. We know how long it takes to rise to such challenges. If everything was perfect, I wouldn't be the President of the Republic. What people expect of us is to respond to the challenges of the day, but in a different way. And indeed, the government, with regard to budgetary issues, reforms, is taking its responsibility and is facing up to reality. There are economies to be made, there are savings to be made, but there are also investments to be made. There will be a 50 billion euro investment plan which will change French society. As regards this particular project, its characteristic, its strength, which explains why I supported it even when I was a minister, is that it is based on what exists. 95% of the infrastructure already exists. And we're not going to build white elephants with this project. So the budgetary cost is very limited, and all the local government authorities, the Paris region will also be contributing. The president of the Paris region, Valérie Pécresse, is here and she is supporting this project. She's investing in it. The central government, the state is investing. So the payoff for our economy, I think the state will be contributing almost €1 billion. So this is much greater than in the past because of our sense of responsibility, which has led us to rely on existing infrastructures. But on top of that, we have a great strength. Many of our organizations, we have a good transport system. We have a transport system which is recognized as being excellent on a worldwide scale. And we have other projects. All the local government authorities are in support of enhancing, improving our transport facilities. So I think it's a really good project. It's not unreasonable from a budgetary point of view. It is based on investments that the country needs, and cost-cutting does not mean not investing. The strength of these games is, of course, the spirit of the Olympic movement. On the 23rd of June, we saw this. It's supported not only by the athletes, but it brings together very closely not only Olympics, but Paralympics as well. These games will be a very inclusive game. This calls for the appropriate infrastructures, the selection of the team. And I'm very proud of this integrated approach. It shows it's by giving every citizen his or her place and by building excellence across the whole of society that these games will be successful.
Thank you very much. Sorry, we don't have time for more questions. I invite you. Je vous invite à une photo famille.